This segment of DelmarvaLife is sponsored by Pam Price and Associates RE/MAX Advantage Realty.
It's no secret at all that people are keeping a very close eye on their bank accounts these days. With so much financial instability everywhere we look, the average adult is probably fretting over the stock market, global tariffs, maybe even the integrity of their retirement fund.
Yeah, so imagine all of those factors facing someone who is enveloped in the complicated process of buying or selling a home. You could probably use an expert right about now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, speaking of an expert, here she is, Pam Price with RE/MAX Advantage Realty, joining us this afternoon to answer a few questions. Good to have you.
Thanks for
Did you have a good Easter?
It was fabulous.
Wonderful. Okay, so what are your thoughts on the current market? Kind of a two-part question here. On the current real estate market, and are there any major trends that you're seeing right now?
Well, right now we have a lot more inventory than we've seen over probably the last 6 or 7 years,
Yeah.
honestly. That where we have inventory now, the supply and demand is a little bit working so that now we see a lot of reductions. We can see 30 to 40 a day sometimes in, 2 or 3 towns, depending on how big they are.
Wow.
So it's insane how many reductions we're seeing.
So with current trends going on, how are buyers and sellers reacting to these trends?
They're still buying. We're up over 220% from last year. So I feel like, considering what interest rates are, that's still huge. And I think they thought that interest rates were going to immediately go down with our new president, but that hasn't, proven.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're just seeing that that's the normal, and they're just accepting it. Not, no one wants to accept their payment, hundreds of dollars more, but they're still buying. We did.
That's just the way it goes, huh?
And my son did too.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So what would be, I know you've got a lot here, and this is asking a lot. If you could narrow it down, what would you say is the single best piece of advice for sellers?
To price your house correctly coming out of the gate, and take away you can always come down, you can never go up, and there's all these theories that they throw at you when you're talking to them about pricing. But I will say, when you price it right, it usually sells, within a few weeks, and then you can move on and,
Go from there.
close.
Yeah.
Yep, close that chapter.
So what strategies are you recommending for buyers?
As far as for buyers, you always just have a good agent that will negotiate good on their behalf, but also that your interest rate is something that can be refinanced later. So if you find the perfect house, I wouldn't always say, that's the most important thing.
Right.
And then we'll work on the rate later.
Yeah.
All right, you're looking for the expert. There's your expert. Pam Price, thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Wonderful
Thanks
talking
for
to you.
having me.